I am Léo Sperandio, and this is a video that is really hard to do because it's based on love, music, and art. So I want to get into it, so let's cut the bullshit, okay? So for the past 2 months, I've been listening to a lot of Olivia Rodrigo, and at first, when I first met Olivia Rodrigo, 2 or 1.5 years ago, I just thought her songs were about teenage drama, you know? But nowadays, after going through some stuff, I can realize that her problems are really common between every single step of life, because love is such an uh, weird concept. Sometimes we start to love and then we stop in a matter of 1 week, and then we can have such an powerful love, and then it can disappear. And of course, when it happens, as in Olivia Rodrigo's song, I'm sorry, it's a hard topic. We can be, you know, frustrated by other people's choices, but it's really interesting, the fact that she can be so angry and at the same time she can be so in love with someone that made her feel in a in such a bad way, you know. So I restarted to listen to her songs and to really get into it. And it's pretty common for this to happen, this situation that supposedly happened to her in any single moment of your life. Love keeps being complicated when you are a kid, a teenager, an adult, and even when you're, you know, old. So I really started to enjoy her songs based on the amount of feelings that she can feel and they really how I can really cope with them. But yeah, the best part is that in fact she will actually get through it as any other teenager, as any other adult or kid or old man or old lady. It's really, really interesting about love. Even though it's really complicated, we always, or almost always, find a way to get past it. After that, of course, I'm going to draw Tyler because I'm a huge Tyler the Creator fan, and I fucking love his everything. I love his personality, I love his style, his songs, and Tyler is this tricky human being because he can be an badass motherfucker when he wants to, with songs that are really, really powerful and where he doesn't give a shit about anything. But at the same time, in his last albums, Tyler was an really sensible dude, you know, talking about his relationships and how they ended and how he was mistreated. So it's really personal, and it's not common to see that coming from like this big guy who doesn't give a shit about other people's opinions. So I like to watch to listen to Tyler and to watch to him, of course, because it makes me understand that we can truly be man, of course, in general. We can truly be this strong personality and masculine, but at the same time be be sentimental and be sensible, and that we should be this way. We shouldn't try to hide our feelings, uh, because because society says so. That feels like some boring liberal shit to say, but yeah, it's true. We shouldn't be We shouldn't be hiding our feelings. If you're sad, if we are sad, if we are angry, if we are going through a lot. So that's why I'm listening to Tyler. I've been going through shit, and both these artists they make me understand that I will suffer, and that's okay. And people cope with that shit in different ways. And yeah, and even though I'm angry, and I can be angry, I can be sad, I can be depressed, but love is such a unique thing that I can't be so angry because people don't feel the same way as I do, or because some people in this world doesn't seem to have love in their lives. And what makes me truly understand that is this lady I'm drawing right now, which is the wonderful, the majestic, the perfect Lisaone. Jesus Christ, Lisaone is so fucking good, go. Dude, if, even when Lisa is, when she's singing in Japanese, when she's singing in Portuguese, in Spanish, or in English, Lisa is mainly speaking into a love language. Her voice is so sweet and warm, and makes you want to really, gives you that head over heels sensation all the time. And yes, she helped me to visualize and realize that even though love is complicated and people don't feel the same way as they do, but love is such an powerful and emotional matter, and a nature, if I may say, a nature spirit and power that even though it can hurt us, it can make us sad, it's also what make us feel more alive than anything. Love makes it worth to be living and even to be suffering in a way, you know? But yeah, that's not always easy to understand. And that's why I'm listening to this three, not only just Lisa to be always happy, but the three of them. Because yeah, love can be, as in ancient Greece, a pathology. The roots of the this concept has some integration with love. So yeah, love can sometimes be a disease, and you need to recover, and it may be hard and it may be painful, but it's just like all other diseases. It will go, it will pass, and you just need to focus or try. Just like Olivia Rodrigo. She's feeling that pain. She's truly in a bad mood, but I believe she's going to get through it. And the only thing is that she needs to respect her time, you know. And that's really weird. Why are we waiting for someone that made us feel like shit, but at the same time we feel love? It's such an interesting topic. And yeah, that's really I think that's really unique. That's why I'm talking about that subject, because there are so many videos and books and studies about love and about things that love can heal, and for example, diseases that are caused by love. So there's this like Japanese disease like Takotsubo. I don't know. I barely speak English, so I don't know how to speak Japanese. I'm sorry. But it's a disease where you have something similar to a heart attack because of a really strong emotional emotional episode, you know? So maybe a broken heart can literally kill you. Isn't that like weird in every single possible way? But I'm doing this video to actually respond to myself, because even though it's weird and it can make us be scared of falling in love, of being head over heels, it's it is at the same time a really important feeling, you know. It motivates us, and love doesn't doesn't follow rationality. People can fall in love and just don't in the other day. But yeah, it may happen to all of us, to fall in love, or to stop loving. So we can be sad as Olivia, we can be, but we should be sensible and strong as Tyler. And at the end, we should all realize that love is beautiful, as Lisa Ono makes me believe it is. So that's it. Forget all the bullshit. Answer me directly. Did you like these drawings? I'm training faces and that kind of shit. If you did, please leave a like and follow me on Instagram, okay? So thank you very much and have a nice day, my friend. Bye.